Welcome to New Orleans. The year is 1980. It's a dark and fantastical version of the city. There's voodoo, magic, and murder all around you. This is The Dark Quarter, a collaboration between Lucky Duck Games and Ryder Games, designed by the designers of Destinies and Final Girl. This is the next invention on that, a fully cooperative digital hybrid game in which you're going to be trying to solve crimes, solve murders, fight, use items, magic, everything at your disposal to ultimately figure out what is going on in this dark New Orleans city. Is that a good intro?
That was a great intro.
Okay, good. Let's move on. We played our one available scenario to us in the prototype, and we want to go ahead and mention that, of course, things may change. This is a prototype game. These are prototype miniatures, dice, things, whatever, but we can only review to you what we have played, and so that's what we're going to do. If you don't know about The Dark Quarter, if you've ever played anything like Destinies or Final Girl, there will 100% be similarities that you can kind of point to.
Absolutely.
But it's a digital hybrid cooperative game. We've played 1 2-hour session, learning as we go, figuring it out.
Yeah.
About 2 hours.
And how do we do, Max?
What was the word that the app used to describe it?
Something like disgusting or
disgraceful,
disturbed.
something like that.
It was horrible.
We did poorly.
Absolutely.
We did very poorly.
And yet,
we
loved
had fun.
it.
We had fun.
I've never played Destinies.
Right. This is all kind of new to you.
So very new to me. The system is cool. I do like the way leveling up sort of lowers the AC, if you will, or the DC rather.
Yeah.
And you have that choice of when do I throw in those special dice? Is it important right now? When is it not?
When do I use this item to discard this item?
But I did not expect the amount of decision making when it came to dialogue. I did not expect the amount of decision making when it came to what leads to follow and what leads to not follow. It reminds me a lot of LA Noire, which is an incredible video game where you get to play this detective where one moment you might be fighting a bad guy, but the next moment you're trying to decide between 3 different places you're going to, 3 different leads, and you only have time to go to one. And all of a sudden,
leads and locations
everywhere
pulled out from under us
and
as we were trying to investigate them. It was like, oh, you took too long. Sorry. We didn't go talk to this cop or something like that. It was, you really noticed, like, there was no timer, nothing like that, but you knew you were on a timer. Like, you know you're on a crunch and you have to make decisions. Do I want to complete my own little side quest that the game's given me? Or do I want to go to this place that I know we have to get to and I risk losing it if we don't?
And the amount of variety, even in just the one session that we played, is incredible. Like, there was moments where we got to look over all the different areas of a body. You could check the head, the arms, the legs, the little side note where we found, all of a sudden we found some symbols that were really, really important. We sketched those down. Oh my goodness, the victim actually, spoiler alert, if you don't want to hear this, had something in his mouth that we didn't get to see. But we went to a detective that we thought, they were clearly there, asked him about it, and he was like, oh yeah, here you go.
You're right.
It was just like this cool moment where
he didn't want to give it to you. You intimidated him.
We had to do an intimidation check.
Here you go.
And there were just so many moments, like with a shopkeep or when you're investigating a place like a crime scene and looking for clues or scanning for magic or stuff like that, where there's just so many good role-playing moments that feel like you're not really doing anything important, and then you're like, should I intimidate, or maybe this role, and then all of a sudden it blows the whole case wide open, and it's just this aha feeling multiple times over.
100%.
And I feel like we missed out on a bunch of them.
Oh yeah.
And we still felt
no
like
way
we did a
we
good job.
touched everything.
Yeah.
There's no way. I liked a lot the coax and intimidate things,
which I never
really
said
felt
right.
like that it was meaningful. Like there were some people, or in certain situations, that would give me the information if I coaxed them, or would give me the information if I intimidated them.
Yeah.
And we made right decisions, and we made wrong decisions.
Yeah.
And we were locked out of certain things from pissing people off too much, or beating people up too much. It certainly happened.
Or being too nice. Like, I actually got yelled at a bunch of times. Like, I don't really like you trying to kiss my butt.
It's like, well, then I should have just freaking yelled at you. Maybe I would have got somewhere. And obviously, we don't know. We're not looking at like the code of the game. We can't see how many options there are available to us, but we can certainly tell you that it gives you the feeling that you are making impactful decisions and you are cutting ties with certain people and certain locations. Like, we don't know. but what we've experienced lends us to believe that for sure.
And to throw out something that I feel like is a problem with open adventure games, that isn't a problem with this game, is I've played some where, you know, some people's turns will feel really important, and then they take this really long turn, it goes to the next person, they do something very minute that never felt like, and then all of a sudden it gets back to this other person, they get to do something really important again, and you kind of feel like, well, I'm not really doing anything. In this game, every single turn felt important. There were maybe 2 or 3 turns
where you were like,
yeah, we left and we were like, but I felt like it was my role, or my poor decision that caused us to lose some type of information there. And like, you could even think, but I might be able to go back next turn and ask that same question again, or find a new path to get to the information that I want.
I want to pivot what you just said, if I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Into, if you come from Destinies, if you've played Destinies, and you felt where certain turns just aren't impactful, and it really sucks to see someone else making headway while you're not. The strong point to playing this game over something like Destinies is that it's fully cooperative.
Absolutely.
In the sense that when I had a turn that I was like, well, I found a lead, but like it wasn't like too impactful, whatever, and then you were able to act on that immediately. Even if you had a poor turn last time, or even if my turn wasn't all that impactful for me, you were able to take advantage of that and jump on another lead and uncover something for me. It felt like we were ping-ponging back and forth.
For sure.
Things happening on the map. Like, ooh, I unlocked this. It says it's in the cemetery. You went to check in the cemetery and you were like, well, there's nothing really here. And then I went to check one place else and it was like, yes, it is in the cemetery. And they were like, oh yeah, I need to ask this particular question. And it unlocked things, but we were just ping-ponging back and forth these decisions that allowed us to really feel like there wasn't any turns that were really just so draught with things to do.
And to speak on that, like the heaviness of the theme just pulled me in 100%. To where what you're talking about reminds me of like cop movies or you know, PI movies where they're calling each other and like, I didn't really get anything out of them, but if you happen to hear anything about X thing, let me know. And then it cuts to like a scene where that person is in like this dirty, dusky, like cigar-filled room, and like this person just happens to say something. You're like, wait, I'm gonna intimidate you. Tell me more about that thing. And then all of a sudden you get the important information. You call back. You're like, wait, no, ask them about this. And it's just like this super fun puzzle that we're slowly uncovering, but in just this incredibly thematic and fun way. And I only expected this given how Lucky Duck and Van Ryder are heavy into theme. But I am blown away at how much I had fun. And New Orleans is already great. Like all like heavy dripping in like this like scary dark voodoo like magic, but also a really fun city filled with like diverse characters and all of this stuff. And so it's already this like mystery in and of itself, and to throw all of this extra like magic and stuff, because it isn't just like non-fictional, like it's fully like fantastical at times.
So before we get into some final thoughts on like whether this game is for you or our final statements on the game as a whole, there are a few things we just need to gloss over and talk about. First and foremost, the production is already A+. There are certain things that I hope sincerely are changed by production, such as dual layer boards. We've got 12 cubes sitting out here on our board. Dice messed them up multiple times. Like I sincerely hope the final production has dual layer boards. If it's like Destinies, it will. That's one thing to look forward to. The app, Lucky Duck, nails it.
Did a great job. Which is to be expected.
And it's already like, it's prototype. There are certainly some things like when you're scrolling, like the right sidebar was like blocking off the last letter. Like there's some glitches.
They're gonna figure it out.
But that's stuff that I have full confidence will be delivered upon on production and release and fulfillment.
It just feels like every iteration of Lucky Duck games that I've played happens to be better in terms of the app quality. So
100%. They just continue to improve. But it really seemed like these two married quite well together.
For sure.
And making something like that. They were both already good at a lot of stuff, and they just kind of turned it up a notch by having them combining on the thing.
And Van Ryder, just to speak to like Final Girl and even their previous games, have always had this like, you can upgrade yourself, but it's gonna come down to you making the dice improve and you having to roll for success or failure. And so like this upgrade system and even the cards that you're using,
I was gonna talk on those,
experience to purchase, like all of that gives me heavy Final Girl vibes, which is just it I don't know, even better. I'm being able to play with another person, which is something you're not able to do. And then on top of that, the adventuring that Destinies brings is just so fun. Throw all of that together. I hope that this opens the door for more companies to be like, we should
combine.
We should partner up. Like
buddy.
I mean, like I like your thing here, and you should like our thing here, and we can. But it's so fun.
You mentioned them already, but one of the things that I think are pretty crucial, not that I couldn't enjoy it without it, but I think they make the game much better. Are these ability cards
for sure
that you can purchase with experience that you've earned throughout the game, and experience can also be used to upgrade your character. So it's not like a easy decision, right? It's not like oh, I definitely want to do this because there's nothing else I can do with experience. But these are not in Destinies, and Destinies, for that fact, oftentimes does come down to just kind of garbage dice rolls, which just happens. And that's going to happen in this game too.
Yeah.
But we were able to upgrade ourselves with powers. Like after performing an Arcana check, I get one of my refresh dice back.
Yeah.
Or any failure in an Arcana test is actually a success. Not like failure of the numbers, but just a straight 1 die roll. So it really felt like you were able to mitigate the poor dice rolls quite a lot more in the Dark Quarter than you were into previous iterations like Destinies.
Yeah, for sure.
Something else too, and I'm getting into kind of my final thoughts here, so if you can think to prepare some of your own. When comparing this to other Lucky Duck titles, Chronicles of Crime, many of times, has given me a scenario where I am just lost. I'm just lost. And the only thing I can think to do is just start scanning anything and everything at my disposal and spending that time because I don't know what to do. And maybe that's a fault of my own. Maybe I'm just bad at those games. But despite this game being difficult, us not certain what to do, us totally failing miserably according to the app, I never felt like there was a time where I was totally oblivious.
We always had something.
There was always some kind of lead or some person that we were like, man, we could go back here. Like, I'm not sure what I want to do, but this really could open something up. It was always a breadcrumb. Whereas when I'm playing games like Chronicles of Crime, I oftentimes feel just totally in the dark. And that's, again, probably a fault of my own, but this game does such a good enough job of leaving you breadcrumbs lying around that you never feel totally in the dark.
For sure. No, I'm completely with you there. I think that Chronicles of Crime is, for me, actually a really great solo experience. And to talk on that just a little bit more, this game, and same with Destinies, it causes you to pass the app back and forth.
Right.
Whereas if you're playing Chronicles of Crime, you pretty much just give one person that the whole time, unless everybody's looking around a crime scene.
It definitely makes you feel more engaged.
For sure. And like, man, just the idea of this, like, these two detectives running around the city and doing all of these things and cooperating, it just never felt like there was room for quarterbacking. Like, I mean, obviously, I guess you could be like, no, like you could be a real butt and be like, no, you need to go here. But I have the app.
One thing I do want to talk on, which we haven't even mentioned, is the content of the game in general. First and foremost, I want to say it's incredibly funny. There's a lot of moments in this game talking to certain people where we were like laughing out loud, cracking up at multiple of their lines. Like,
and again, a lot of times when you read stories in board games, it's
there's no personality.
And it's not always well written. It can be kind of like cheesy. This was really well written. Like, I was very impressed. But keep going. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. But it is extremely mature.
Oh yeah.
In the sense that
we should have started with that.
Yeah, I know. I was like, man, we haven't talked on that. We need to mention that.
Yeah.
This game does say 17 plus.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I was like, that's cute, right? Like, that's cute. Like, there's no way, right?
Yeah.
And then I started reading some of the lines, and I was like,
first page.
Yeah, literally like the first page. I was just like, blah, 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 blah. And obviously it's going to be and it was just like, okay, like, yes, indeed, we are getting in there, and that doesn't stop. Like, the entire time, you're like, just reading.
It's a part of some people's personalities, and we won't get into who it is, but there's one character.
Cough. our boss. she's got a potty mouth. She's
For sure.
A massive
She's a
potty
jerk.
mouth.
Like,
She's also, I mean,
man.
Private investigator, I guess you gotta be a little brute forcey, but yeah, the content of this game certainly is mature. Some of the pictures that show up on the investigation tiles can certainly be a little disturbing. Nothing like grotesque or awful, but I would not play this with like your 10-year-old.
No.
Chronicles of Crime has a little bit about murder and stuff like that,
And
but it does not get into language or vulgarity or anything like that like this has. It's leveled up past anything that I've ever seen in a game like this, but it is necessary, in my opinion, to fulfill the goal of the theme.
Oh, man. And the theme is my favorite thing. It's one of my favorite themes. Like, if you were to ask me, Josh, what's one of your favorite themes from any board game you've ever played? Maybe magical New Orleans in the 1980s when I'm a detective.
Yeah, it is
like, and it
so
leans
good.
into it so well. I am heavily impressed. Like, he's even got the music that you expect from these Lucky Duck apps.
Yeah, the apps.
I cannot wait. This will be one, unless they send me a copy for free, I will be backing.
Yes.
And maybe I shouldn't say that because you're going to watch this. Please, if you think about it, like, include me in there, but I will I will buy this game. Get my hands on it.
It really is great. I'm already a big fan of Destinies. I'm already a big fan of Chronicles of Crime. I've never played Destinies, but we love the Lucky Duck. We love the Final Girl. So this is certainly in our wheelhouse.
Yeah.
We love it. There's no discussing that.
For sure. Just about to say, the biggest reason I've avoided Destinies is because of the competitive nature of it.
Yep.
And I still think I would love it, but I think that this interests me way more.
That's going to pivot directly into my closing statement. If you haven't played Destinies, this doesn't really apply to you. But a lot of you probably have. And if you played Destinies and loved it, you're going to love this one. As long as you enjoyed the gameplay of Destinies, this is still that. If you did not like Destinies because you do not come to a culmination at the end of your story because it's competitive and one person wins and the game is over, this avoids that.
Yeah.
You both come to a complete, fulfilling end together.
Even if you lose.
Even if you lose. If that is your sticking point with Destinies and you liked the way it played, but it's just annoying to not be able to finish your own story, or like we were talking about earlier, where my turn is worthless and your turn is good, and you don't like that competitive aspect, this is it. If you don't like the gameplay of Destinies, this is not going to fix that game for you. You have to already like that loop, the way it plays, for this to be something you will enjoy. I'm pretty confident in saying that as someone who loves Destinies and loves this. If you don't like Destinies for the gameplay reasons, this won't fix that. But any other way around it, I will wholeheartedly recommend this game for sure.
Can I end on one final thought?
Please. No, you're not allowed, Doolin. That's
played...
the video. See you next time.
We've played at least maybe 20 new to us, or not new to us, but like new games from 2022. This is my favorite.
Really?
By far.
Wow.
That's
one. Bold. I love it. I love bold statements like that.
From 2022, and we've played some bangers. Ark Nova, fantastic.
Yeah,
Return to Dark Tower, fantastic.
Dude.
This is the best one.
Yeah, dude. If you enjoyed the video and if you like what we've provided for you, please like, subscribe, enjoy the rest of our content that's available on our channel. We will absolutely be covering this once it comes to fulfillment. And of course, check the link in the description below to jump onto the Kickstarter right now. Let them know we sent you and decide for you if it's a game that you want to back.
See you guys.
See you next time.